right, game 203, 204, Brigham Young at Utah. Not really, but Brigham Young will be the away team in the Las Vegas Bowl tonight in Las Vegas, Sam Boyd Stadium. Utah, 2.5-point favorite in this one. Total of 48.5. Game opened at 2.5. Total actually opened at 54. And Rob, BYU at Utah reminds me of one of my favorite quotes of all time from Lavelle Edwards when asked about the Brigham Young Mormon fan base going to Las Vegas. He said they were going to bring $10 in the Ten Commandments and not break either, I believe is how the quote went. Utah at one point, Rob, was 6-0 in the conversation for the playoffs at that time. Since then, they played 500 football. Straight up, unfortunately, against the spread, they have only won once in their last 6 tries here. Injuries for the Utes really seem to have been the story, Rob. Devontae Booker, running back, he'll be out this Saturday. Both wide receiver Kenneth Scott, he's probable. Britton Covey is doubtful. They've already lost Tim Patrick, as well as a couple other tight ends, 3 other tight ends rather for the year. Been tough for them to move the ball through the air. Obviously, with the running back out, that's not the best option either. For Brigham Young, points have not been a problem, although they are without their head coach, Bronco Mendenhall, who has taken the University of Virginia job. Rob, this is one I couldn't get a grip on. I know both of these teams want this one badly. A lot of bragging rights here in the state of Utah. I know the under has been a trendy pick, at least in a lot of the things I've read. But Rob, Brigham Young's offense, they can definitely put up points. I don't think that Utah has really totally faltered on offense. They scored 20 in their last game, 30 in the game before that, 34 against Washington earlier in November. So they can put up some points, although those were games without the injuries they do have now. But for me, Rob, I really couldn't find a play here. I'm not sure if I'll be playing the halftime, though, in this one. That might be an opportunity. But for right now, I don't see anything. How about you?
Yeah, Derek, this one was a little difficult to get a read on. Obviously, the rivalry is there. So despite the fact that Utah, at the beginning of the bowl season, was none too pleased with being sent to this Las Vegas Bowl, which the Pac-12 sixth place or sixth representative is put into this game, Utah did not feel that they were the 6th best team in the Pac-12 this season. So a little resentment being sent here. But once you get the opponent of BYU and you get to restore the Holy War rivalry game, I think the other stuff is all forgotten. Expect Utah to bring a top-notch effort here, as will BYU. Interesting on their side, of course, as you mentioned, Bronco Mendenhall, now the head coach at Virginia, but sticking around to coach this game. The players likely to want to send him off in a victorious celebration. The differences from a fundamental standpoint in this game, to me, are Utah's ability to rush the passer. I think they're better than Brigham Young in that regard. So the front 7 should probably have an advantage over the Brigham Young offensive front. Secondly, the quarterback play, to me, Travis Wilson, while not extraordinary by any means, I think he's the steadier of the 2 quarterbacks here. BYU did pile a lot of points on in their last 2 games of the season, but they were against a couple of foes in Fresno State and Utah State. Fresno State, a team that played no defense all season long, and Utah State, a team that faltered defensively miserably the last third of the season. So don't know how much credence we can put into those. I think Wilson's probably a little more consistent at the quarterback position, less likely to turn it over. And then the scheduling here, Utah did play the superior schedule as far as opposition is concerned this season. They played in a very tough Pac-12. BYU, I mentioned some of the weaker Mountain West teams that they played. Also, remember, they played some AAC conference teams, UConn, East Carolina, Cincinnati, of course, UConn and Cincinnati in bowl games here, but certainly not top-notch opponents. So you're really splitting hairs in this contest. That's why the number is where we see it at 2.5. I will say this: you talked a little bit about halftime bets here, and it is key to note that if you have the patience to stick around and wait until the second half of this game, BYU has been a very, very good second half overplay. They've gone 9-3 over the total in the second half. If you can't find anything on the game, perhaps second half is something to wait around for. This total has been bet down considerably. A lot of guys on the under here. Can't say that I'd argue it, but in college football nowadays, it's difficult to play a game under when it's already in the 40s. Don't have a real strong feel on the side in this contest or on the total, but I would recommend maybe sticking around to the second half, seeing what the second half total is, and perhaps getting a play on the over there if it's a reasonable number.